most of the time in my life, I just struggle to uh, overcome my father's like his achievements.
Your father's achievement.
Yeah. Also, J.P. Morgan also found wanna be different with his father, so that he pursued more like adventurous life and
Yes.
more like progress life.
Yes.
So
Right.
I think I just wanna live from now on follow my free will and
Your own life.
yeah my life, but I'm not accustomed to it. I'm not like used to it. So how do you like manage your life, or how do you like? Is there any situation?
You are a good son. You are a good son. You are a faithful son. And I wonder if all sons have the same feelings as you do. These things we cannot determine on our own. That's why we turn to literature, looking at other people's experiences, and we see our own reflections in them, and we learn many valuable lessons from literature. I refer to Godfather by Mario Puzo often because I feel that it's a wonderful piece of literature, a wonderful film. It is a wonderful film not because it's a gangster film, but because it talks about the most common and most important experiences in people's lives. And these experiences center around your family. In the film Godfather, the father has 3 sons and 1 daughter. So it's a family, what takes place within a family. The eldest son, Sonny, is following his father's footsteps as the head of the family. He is very strong. He can be very violent. He's got a high temper, and he wants to be a strong man like his father. And the second son, Fredo is, he is sort of weak and weak-willed, and everybody knows in the family that Fredo is sort of like an exception. And the third son, the youngest son, Michael is the brightest one. So he goes to Dartmouth. He majors in math at Dartmouth. And he had no intention of going into his father's business. He had no intention of becoming like his father. He wanted to be a math professor, according to the book. It's not in the film. Michael, his greatest concern was passing exams. But on the day his father was shot by his rival gang, there was an assassination attempt on Michael's father, and he survives, but he is very injured, wounded, and the rival gang, knowing that this Godfather is not dead, makes another attempt by removing all the bodyguards from the hospital, making the hospital wide open, and then coming into the hospital again to try to kill him. It is just before that happens that Michael visits the hospital. And he enters the hospital. The hospital is empty. There's no bodyguard, nobody. And he walks into his father's hospital room, and his father is all alone. And he realizes, the nurse comes in and says, where is everybody? Where are the bodyguards? And the nurse says, your father had too many visitors. They were getting in the hospital business. The police came 5 minutes ago and took them away. And Mike realizes this is a plot to kill his father. So he goes out in front of the hospital entrance with another visitor and pretends to be a bodyguard. And behold, the car comes with the assassins. And when they see these two guys in winter coats and collar up and with their hands in their pocket, they assume these are bodyguards, and they get afraid, they go away. And this is how Michael gets involved in his family business. He never wanted to be like this. He wanted to be a legitimate man, legitimate person, but by the circumstances, he was drawn into his father's world. And later in the film, his father has a moment of tender dialogue with Michael, and he says, "I never wanted this for you. I hope that things would be different in your life. I hope that you would be like a Senator Corleone or Governor Corleone, Judge Corleone. I never wanted you to be a head of the mafia family, but these things nobody can decide. Nobody knows. I mean, you say that you don't want to follow your father's footsteps, but you want your own life and you want to establish your own career, do what you want to do. Every son wants to do that. But also deep within us, I believe, I was like that. Every son has a way of admiring his father. He looks up to his father, and in some way, every son wants to repeat what his father did. So, in my case, my father was an army officer. And that's why throughout my childhood, I always liked war movies. I played war games with friends. And even now, I like war movies, and I identify with military officers' mentality. I like military-style leadership, and I regret that the real world doesn't follow the military kind efficiency. And even now, the people that I admire in terms of leadership are people like General Patton, military leaders, because I consider them to be very efficient, disciplined, dedicated, strong. So even though I became a minister, my father was a military officer and a businessman. And so I chose a completely different path from my father. But still, in my heart, I still admire my father, what he did, and I still have very tender feelings for the memories of my father. Every son, I can't say every son, but many sons want to be like their fathers. And their fathers play unforgettable role in the values and life direction and many things that shape a man's life. The proto-man, the prototype of manhood was our fathers, right? The first man we saw in our lives, a strong man, a bigger man. When we were children, fathers seemed almost omnipotent, right? But as we grew old, we realized that they were not omnipotent. They were vulnerable, they were weak, imperfect, but nonetheless, we respect them, and we want to be like them. And also, When you get married and have a child and have a son, you will want your son to be like you. You will want your son to have the same name as you. Right? Americans call their children Junior, John F. Kennedy Jr., things like that. You give them the same name and clothe them in the same clothes. And if you can, you want to send them to the same school and let them have the same job and join the same country club. Right? That's an instinct that fathers have. And sons understand that. And sons instinctively understand that they are honoring their fathers by becoming like them. But the reality is that they can't be like their fathers. Right? They can't be like their father. They try. They can't be like their fathers, and many of them have a tough time. They can't accept the fact that they can't be like their fathers. But they have to accept. That's where faith comes in, right? Isaac was not like Abraham. And Jacob wasn't like Isaac. Isaac's favorite son was not Jacob, but Esau. Isaac wanted to bless Esau, not Jacob. Whatever the reason, I think Isaac preferred Esau's personality, Esau's style. Esau was a hunter, right? He was an outdoor man. And he had a lot of hair. And Esau, for whatever reason, preferred, Isaac preferred Esau. But God allowed Jacob to succeed Isaac and receive his blessing. So God has different plans for the next generation. Many times the fathers the sons, the young man that God used, like David, weren't like their fathers. David wasn't like his father, Jesse. Jesse, in fact, didn't even invite David when Samuel came, right? That means that Jesse didn't even consider David to be within the realm of the possibility. But God chose David contrary to Jesse's expectations. So we have to honor our fathers and respect them, but often God has different plans for us, different from our own father's expectations.